Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be covering crazy week that was in pro wrestling. So I'm going to be covering WWE Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite episode 300. We'll not be covering SmackDown or Collision. I did watch them, but I did not take notes because I was, a little bit indisposed of. Let's keep it nice. So, main reason I'm doing this today is because I did plan on doing this on Friday, but some things came up. I ended up helping set up for the 4th of July. So, ended up having a very nice time. Very small, very quiet, but time got away from me, so I am doing this here today. And hope you're buckled in, because we are going to start with WWE Monday Night Raw. We get a nice little video recap of Night of Champions. We start off the main Raw program with Rhea Ripley promo. So she gets in the ring, gets on mic, says, "Now with Judgment Day behind me, what is next for Rhea Ripley? With Evolution right around the corner, it's time I get my priorities straight." And as she finishes, out comes Io Sky, the Women's World Champion. She gets in the ring, gets on the mic, says, "Rhea, you can't have Evolution without me. You're not on top anymore. I am the World Champion. And Adam Pearce told me that I could pick my opponent for Evolution. And I want to defend my title against the best. That means you, Rhea Ripley." So Rhea has a big old shit-eating grin on her face, says, "Io, I have nothing but respect for you, but I'm going to stop at nothing to get my world title back. If that's what you want at Evolution, you got it. But what happens at Evolution, that's what you wanted. You're on." And then, that's the end of the segment. So, champions picking their opponent for let's call it this, a not very well built pay-per-view. I do hope Evolution is a success. But good lord, does it feel like more of a forgotten child than anything I've seen. Like, there's been really no build-up for this. And it just feels... It kind of feels like the first Evolution. It's more or less, sorry about this, here's this. So, anyway, that's my TED Talk on Evolution. Then we see the 3 male members of the Judgment Day in the back. So that's JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Dom hyping up his boys for their tag team title match. They walk off. AJ Styles walks in. Dom immediately goes to his pockets, fumbles a little bit, brings out a little piece of paper saying, "I got a doctor's note. I'm still not cleared to go. If you put hands on me, you don't get your title match." So AJ rips the note from his hand, looks it over, says, "Oh, I see what the doctor recommended. He called you a bitch." Great line from AJ. So AJ continues, "You're going to get what's coming to you. And I'm going to beat you so bad, even Liv won't recognize you." So AJ kind of walks off. Dom says something under his breath. I didn't really catch it. AJ comes back. Dom's like, I'm not cleared. And then just kind of scuttles off. I'm going to say this. I love what Dominic Mysterio is doing with the Intercontinental title and his feud with AJ, continuing trying to duck the match. It's fun. It's really entertaining. Eventually we will get this match. I'm going to say maybe at SummerSlam, but I am not 100% sure. So, after all that, we get our first matchup of the evening, and it's for the World Tag Team titles. As the Judgment Day, being represented by JD McDonough and Finn Balor, take on the New Day of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And these two teams worked really, really well together. And yeah, they're all kind of the same mold of wrestler, but I feel like with the New Day heel turn, they kind of work a little bit better. I'm not sure. Like, the moves just kind of feel like they snap a little bit more, you know? Anyway, they go back and forth a bit. Finn Balor hits a coup de grace, but Woods rolls over, so JD McDonough gets hit. So there's that. That's going to be interesting. Kofi whiffs on a Trouble in Paradise. Finn with a roll up for a 2 count. Kofi then goes to the outside, grabs his belt, one of the title belts, hits Finn Balor with it, only gets a 2. Finn with a flatliner, tags in JD McDonough for a Spanish fly. Kofi goes for a dive, completely whiffs. Finn Balor with a sling blade and a big boot. JD tags in Finn. JD with a moonsault, Finn with a coup de grace, and your winners, and the new tag team champions, the Judgment Day. And I'm going to say this, Judgment Day working kind of babyface for this match. And when they got the pin, they got a big old meaty reaction. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to turn these guys babyface, because honestly, I feel like Judgment Day has been going on long enough that maybe some changes do need to be made. Like, I feel like you can keep Dom as a, sniveling coward heel, but then you could have Finn and JD kind of the heroic baby faces. And then you can do whatever you want with the rest of the crew. So, I feel like change is definitely coming for the Judgment Day. Next, we get a recap of the Women's Intercontinental title match. In which Lyra Valkyria cost Bayley the match. We then go to a backstage interview with Bayley, who says, "The target doesn't change. I wish I was champ right now, but with Lyra getting involved, she cost me my..." And then Lyra comes in, they start shouting out at one another, with Lyra says, "Oh, you're going to talk to me? I wanted to keep things private. You don't think this is personal? This is Bayley now. She took me out before WrestleMania." And then they just start. Then Adam Pearce walks in, screams, "Enough! I hate to see you two at each other's throats for this. So I set up a match for tonight, later on tonight, The winner becomes the number one contender for the Women's Intercontinental title. Lyra and Bayley then have a little stare down. Ends that segment. I love little things like this. While yes, I do like matches set up in advance. Day of setups, I don't mind. They're actually kind of fun. And there's enough history between these two that it makes sense. We then get this Goldberg kind of highlight video at first, but then it turns into a Goldberg versus Gunther hype video, which, honestly, the production team in WWE for these are always good. Am I getting hyped up for this match? Not really. But, WWE always do a good job with stuff like this. We then get a recap of Chad Gable falling to the sacrifice backstage via Penta. And so we go to a promo from Chad Gable. His arm's in a sling. He's with the rest of his American-made buddies. He says, man, I hate this. Ivy, I need you to hold down the fort. Man, this stinks. So then Adam Pearce walks in and says, Chad, I'll wish you luck in your surgery. Chad Gable turns to Adam Pearce and says, I'm an Olympic hero. I think I can handle a little surgery. Then Adam, a little squirrely, says, and with you out, does that mean no more El Grande and Americano? Gable then says, you never know where he might show up. Ivy Nile then chimes in saying, we don't know what we're going to do without you, Chad, without your leadership. I don't know if we're going to do what we can. So then Adam Pearce and Aldis come in and say, actually, then that's the end of that segment. We go to a commercial. Come back to a new segment where it looks like the same hallway that American Made were. You see Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. They're kind of chatting to one another. I think one of them is on the phone with somebody. Then in walks the Judgment Day. That being Finn, JD, and Dom. With Finn saying, look, I've come up with an idea for the women's tag team titles. Do not strip Raquel Rodriguez. Instead, we'll find her a tag team partner. Heck, we got the perfect partner for her already. Roxanne Perez. So Adam Pearce tells Finn Balor to wait a second. He and Aldis huddle up. He turn back around and says, we'll allow it. But to justify the decision, at Evolution, Raquel and Roxanne are going to have to defend their tag team titles from teams from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And, that ends the segment. So, again, a little lazy booking from WWE for Evolution. And also, considering you don't really have many real tag teams left in the division, it might be time to retire these. and put more focus on the women's mid-card division. And look, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of the women's tag division, but it never really became an importance for the WWE. No matter who won it, no matter who was holding it, it never felt important. And that's why, initially Naomi left, and that's why Sasha Banks left. So, I think it's about time to retire the women's tag team titles. So, anyway, next match up, we get an absolute banger as we get Rusev taking on Sheamus. And this was about as hoss fight as you can get. Like, these two guys were throwing bombs at one another throughout this match. Including a spot where Sheamus hits Rusev with the 10 beats of the Bowery. Rusev rolls out of the ring, eats a Sheamus whiffs on a bro kick. Rusev then backdrops him on the pads on the outside. Gets him back in the ring. Hits a couple knees in the corner, only for a 2. Sheamus tried for a Celtic cross. That gets blocked into a Uranagi. Rusev with a super kick. Locks Sheamus in the Acolyte. Has him locked in. But Sheamus powers it out. Rusev rolls to the outside. That's where Sheamus hits his bro kick. Sheamus gets back in. But Rusev beats the 10 count. And they just start all over again. And yeah, they beat the heck out of each other. Rusev with an eye rake. Throws him into the middle turnbuckle. Then hits a Machka kick, which is honestly a very weird name for a finish to pick up the win. So I'm going to guess we're going to see one more between these two. Maybe with a stipulation. But honestly, that was a heck of a good match. And I honestly recommend it. So then we get a nice little Evolution hype video. And then we get a little card rundown. Not much to run down right now. But then it's also announced that there's going to be a Battle Royal at Evolution to determine a future number 1 contender for Clash in Perth. I believe it is. So, that's going to be interesting. Hopefully we see a couple of legends in these spots. And then we go backstage for an American Made interview. Ivy Nile is taking the lead on this one, where she says, look, we obviously got a lot of work to do. I'm going to be in this Battle Royal, and then she stops. She looks off camera. Camera pans. There's El Grande Americano. And he's like way bigger than he was before. And he turns to them, walks off screen, and they follow. Yeah, so, that's definitely not Chad Gable. That is 100% Ludwig Kaiser. I kind of would have hoped they would have had something more for this guy. But, at least he's doing something. Anyway, after that, the interviewer walks a little bit. Camera follows. Find Sami Zayn. He's a little beat up. We were about to get a Sami Zayn interview before a word leaves his mouth. Karrion Kross jumps him from behind. Then he goes around, picks up a metal pipe, beats down Sami Zayn with it, the entire time saying, "Tell the truth. Say it. You're a liar, Sami." And yeah, that was a heck of a beatdown. I'm wondering what we're going to be doing here. Are we going to see Karrion Kross corrupt Sami Zayn? Because that would be interesting. So next we get the match graphic of Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley made official for Evolution. So that's very cool. Then we get an in-ring Gunther promo. And this was intense. So basically he says, "You guessed right. I'm here to talk about Goldberg. We all saw the highlights from Goldberg earlier. It's violent, frugal, and all just like a Goldberg match, all summed up in about 3 minutes. Goldberg has every right to claim he's the most violent man of his generation. But he also wants to ride out on my coattails. Goldberg isn't capable of taking the World Heavyweight title from me, and I can beat him in 3 minutes. He's gonna blow him. I'm gonna blow him up. Make him work. And embarrass him in front of his fans and family. And I heard Goldberg doesn't like bullies. Well, you bumped into the biggest bully around, and I'm going to push you around like the piece of crap you are, and I'm going to expose you. Never had it." Damn, I love Gunther. Anyway, so Goldberg. Gunther continues saying, "And after Goldberg, who wants to be next? Who is the next victim of the Ring General?" And at that point, Seth Rollins' music hits. He comes out with Paul Heyman and the Money in the Bank briefcase. Although it is not the usual green. It is a little black and yellow number with Seth's logo imposed in the O of money. So that nice little custom briefcase for Seth. Naomi also gets a custom case, so that's really cool. So Seth gets in the ring, says, "That look on your face. You traveled far and achieved nothing." Oh, this is Gunther, actually. Then this is Seth saying, "Clearly you haven't been paying attention and haven't seen you since you won the title. Congratulations. But I did not go to Night of Champions to cash in on Cena. If there's breath in my lungs, I made a promise long time ago that if there was breath in my lungs, Punk would not be a world champion in WWE. I went to Night of Champions to stand on that promise. And as it stands, this contract, I told the world it will be out and all out of salt on both world titles. And congratulations, champ, you." And at that moment, CM Punk's music hits. He comes out, and the two of them brawl for a bit. Seth then breaks off, retreats through the crowd, then kind of stays up there. Punk doesn't try to follow him. He kind of jaws at him, turns around, sees Gunther, and just pushes him over. Like, that was weird. Punk then leaves the ring. Seth is up there laughing. He's kind of taking popcorn and drinks and stuff from the crowd. Then someone comes up from behind him. It's LA Knight. He attacks Seth Rollins. And they brawl through like a bar area, which was very interesting to see. Well, not an official bar, but like a bar in the stadium. And yeah, Seth runs off. And we'll get to that a little later. But yeah, very interesting segment. I'm wondering if this is going to be the War Games match. I'm not sure. So then next we see Judgment Day. They're celebrating Finn and JD's title win. Finn and JD like, we did it, we won, yay. But then Dom says, so that's it. You're just replacing Liv just like that. Finn then says, look, I've had a shoulder injury before. I was out for a very long time. And Liv is obviously going to be out for a while. I just wanted you to stay women's champion. So, now that that's taken care of, let's say we put this down to a vote. And officially vote in Roxanne Perez as a member of the Judgment Day. So, Finn and JD obviously vote yes. Dom says, look, I gotta talk to Liv about this. Finn then goes over to Dom, says, you don't need to talk about Liv. It's time for you to make a decision for yourself. And Dom votes yes. So then it is all down to Raquel Rodriguez, who is a little bit against it, but ultimately votes yes. So then Finn is like, alright, the ayes have it. Welcome the newest member of the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez. And let's all cheers our titles in celebration. And so they do, with Raquel kind of coming in late at the end, which I'm not really sure what's going on there. So then Roxanne, with a little finality, says, and don't you guys worry, I'm going to win that women's gauntlet match at Evolution when I qualify for it tonight. So Roxanne walks off. Finn then kind of says to nobody, oh, Liv is going to love this. So, yeah, looks like the breakup of the Judgment Day is pretty imminent. We shall see what's what. We then get a very strange but yet intriguing vignette from Kairi Sane, where she's kind of on the pirate ship that they used in promos for WrestleMania 37 and 38, which was honestly very funny looking. But they fused the old footage and some new to create a nice little narrative. So anyway, next up, we got Bayley taking on Lyra Valkyria. And I'm going to say this, these two have some underrated chemistry together. I would have liked to see them tag up at WrestleMania, but I do understand Becky is the bigger name. But yeah, this match absolutely ruled. They blocked each other's finishers. They went counter for counter pretty much the entire time. But then they kind of trade roll-ups for a little bit. The ref counts. When both, I guess it looked like both women's shoulders were on the mat for the 1, 2, 3. So each woman is celebrating. It is called a draw. So, yeah, that's very rare for WWE to do. I do not remember the last time they had a draw in a match like this, but I'm kind of okay with it. Like, yeah, it's a non-finish, it's a little lame, and it's something I would definitely complain about in the old regime. But here, I feel like it makes sense. Like, I feel like if we're going to get this triple threat, I feel like that was the right thing to do. I don't know. I obviously enjoyed it a lot better than most people. But, yeah, I'm definitely okay with it. So Bayley and Lyra then kind of get in a little shouting match, and then they just brawl with one another. With officials coming out to break it up. So next image we see is a match graphic for Saturday night's main event, with a match between Seth Rollins and LA Knight. Yeah. Excuse me. Anyway, so we see CM Punk. He's walking through the locker room. And then the interviewer catches up with him. And he says, Seth's knees haven't worked in years. I got receipts for all of them. So he walks off, runs into LA Knight, who says, how dare you jump the line for me and Seth? I want that match at Saturday night's main event. So Knight retorts, well, I got Seth at Saturday night's main event, so you gotta get to the back of the line. I got the match at Saturday night's main event, so I am the line. And Knight walks off. An LA Knight CM Punk program, I don't know, sounds intriguing to me. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting to see. So, next thing we see, we got Sami Zayn. He's in the back. His ribs are taped. And he's kind of leaning on whatever box or whatever. Penta walks up to him and says, are you sure you want to do this? Sami Zayn jumps up, gives him the zero miedo. And Penta's like, alright. So they make their entrance for their main event match. We'll get to that in a minute. But then we see Bronson Reed along with Paul Heyman in the back. Right in Gorilla, actually. So right before the entrance is like where production is. So it is revealed Seth is on a private jet going home, getting ready for Plan B, whatever the heck that is. So Reed asks Heyman, what the heck is Plan B? Braun Breaker walks up, says, Plan B is to smash anyone who gets in our way, and it starts tonight with these two. So Paul Heyman family makes their entrance for the main event of Raw, as we got Sami Zayn and Penta taking on the Paul Heyman family. And I'm going to say this. Initially, it did start out with the, the super heavyweight guys at advantage. Eventually, Penta and Sami did fight back, including a couple big, beautiful dives. Sammy with an impressive sunset flip powerbomb, but only gets a 2. Braun Breaker then tags in. Him and Bronson are set up for a doomsday device, but Penta breaks it up. Braun Breaker then with his clothesline off the apron into the announce table on Sammy. Bronson Reed then tags in, goes for a senton, whiffs. That brings in Braun and Penta back. Penta with a big old cross body, a sling blade, super kick, big old drop kick, hits him with the sacrifice, tries to pick him up for the Penta driver, but that gets blocked. Reed then with Braun Breaker then with a military press attempt that gets blocked into a very impressive DDT that only gets a 2 count. Then after a couple elbow shots, Paul Heyman gets on the apron and Reed pushes Penta off the top rope. Braun Breaker with a big old Frankensteiner and then a big powerbomb for a 2 count. Bronson Reed comes in. He attempts a tsunami that whiffs. Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker then tag in. Sammy with a suplex into the corner sets up for a haluva kick that gets intercepted by a big clothesline. Braun Breaker goes for a spear that gets blocked into a knee. Sammy attempts the Blue Thunder Bomb, but that gets blocked. Instead, he attempts a big suplex that gets blocked again. Breaker attempts a big splash in the corner that misses. Sammy with a jawbreaker, a suplex. He goes for the haluva kick again. Completely eats a spear for the win for the Paul Heyman family. Then we get a spear to Penta post-match. Braun Breaker then sets up Sammy for a big old tsunami to end the show. It's about time these guys got a win. Like, honestly, this was a long time coming for these guys. No false finish, no, BS ending. A win. And honestly, I'm going to say this. This might be a little controversial. They should go for the tag titles. Like, honestly, tag division is lacking any story here on Raw. I think Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker holding them, or at least going after them, would add so much to the tag division on Raw. So, that is it for Monday Night Raw. Overall, it was pretty dang good. Like, it feels like Raw is definitely more on the up and up lately. Although, I do wish there was more of a build to Evolution and Saturday night. Well, Saturday night's main event has been getting way more attention than Evolution. So, hopefully that changes up sometime in the near future. And, we get a proper build to an Evolution 3, hopefully. So that was Monday Night Raw. We then move to NWA Power. And we start off with the Slime Balls, who are, I guess, Carson Drake's minions now. And they're breaking into a car again. And this time to siphon gas for their car, I guess. I don't know what's happening. So they pop the trunk, gets a siphon with the Rant sucking gas out of the tank, I'm sorry, that's fucking disgusting. And I know that's these guys' thing, but that is so gross and unsafe. Please don't do that. So then, a minute passes. Rant kind of does a spit take of some gas It definitely looks like water. Camera turns. You see Knox and Murdoch just staring daggers at them. So Rand's like, "Oh, is this your car?" Murdoch's like, "Nah, not my car." So it looks like they're about to get into it when Rand says, "Look, it's William Patrick Corgan!" And they run off over a really small-ass fence. I guess they're setting up for part 3 for this trilogy. I am not sure. I'm not sure if I really like that segment, but it did make me laugh a little bit. But again, PSA, do not try to siphon gas like Rand did. That'll get you sick and maybe even kill you. Anyway, so next matchup, bit of a return match. As we got Brian Idol taking on Thrillbilly Silas Mason. And right at the bell, Mason spits right at Brian Idol. And Idol has had enough almost immediately. Goes in for a couple of strikes. But then Mason takes over with a flatliner and a big splash in the corner. They trade moves for a little bit. Idol then clotheslines Thrillbilly over the top. Hits a dive in which, if you remember their first matchup, that's how that match ended because he got hurt. So I am glad that he had a little redemption. Idol attempts a crossbody. He gets caught. Gets pressed right into the ring post. Tossed into the guardrail. Then Thrillbilly picks up a part of the guardrail and just tosses it at Idol. So he's trapped under it. Thrillbilly then picks up a chair. It's a chair shots into the guardrail, which is now on top of Idol. And he chokes him a little bit with the chair. Gets him out from under all the wreckage. Attempts a powerbomb into the guardrail. That gets blocked. Idol then with a backdrop to Thrillbilly into the guardrail. Then picks him up again. Tosses him into a standing guardrail. Gets him back in the ring. Hits some strikes. Big kick. Only gets a 1 count. Then after another flatliner, Thrillbilly goes to the outside, grabs a couple of chairs, gets him back in, sets one chair up in the corner, and he's about to lawn dart Idol into it. That gets blocked. And then Idol then kind of tosses Thrillbilly into the chair, into the corner. Attempts the crossbody. That gets caught. Thrillbilly with a powerbomb into a chair for the 1, 2, arm up. Then at that point, the Southern Six music starts playing, in which I think that was a production snafu. They tried to play it off as, Kerry Morton and the rest of the Southern Six were quick on the gun, playing the music, thinking he was going to win there. So the match continues. Thrillbilly with a fall-away slam off the top rope. Hits a knee drop for a 2 count. Idol goes for an unprettier. That gets blocked. Thrillbilly with the thrill ride for the win. And then post-match, Idol walks over to a victorious Thrillbilly, extends his hand for a shake. Thrillbilly shakes it, brings him in, and then hits another thrill ride post-match. And then we get a post-match beating. Like, that wasn't just a brawl, that was an absolute butt-kicking by the Thrillbilly. Honestly, I'm going to say this. It's time to push Thrillbilly a bit more. get him to that world title level. Speaking of world title level, we get the former NWA World Champion, EC3. He's in the, I'm going to say it's like a wrestler's pawn shop or whatever. Where he says to the guy working the register, who I don't even think has a name, but he says to him, business has evolved and I have to upgrade. I have a good vibe. You'll have a good vibe. You have a good match. You have a bad vibe. You have a bad match. But you have a transcended match is when you become the Overlord. And be careful when you stare into the abyss, because it stares back. So, then we have, not Carson Drake. Who the heck is it? I forget the dude's name. Where he says, oh, this is BS. So EC3 says, look, I got some dirt on your girlfriend, Kylie Page. There's something going on here. Sounds like a real page turner. So this kind of seats the other guy. Who gets into EC3's face with EC3 saying, don't act like, oh, don't have anything to say? I would never. Don't act like you need sources. My word is my bond. And, yeah, that was a very confusing segment. I really did. Is EC3 saying Kylie is cheating on him? I don't know what's going on. But either way, it's going to be interesting. So then we get a nice little Around the Territory segment in which NWA 77 is coming to my neck of the woods. So that should be fun. Then we get another Dothan Today segment in which I love these. These are great little character moments. But instead of Joe Kazana again, we get the NWA National Title Champion, Mims, who says, thank you. Yes, congratulations are in order. And I'm going to tell everyone I was going to win. And I walked in and won my match. And from people like you, not necessarily, is this my interview? I know someone has peanuts for brains. I don't listen to authority. I am the national champion. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm on top. So, definitely some strong words from the national champion. But then we go to our main event of NWA Power. And it's a low-key banger, as it's a number one contendership for the Women's World Champion, as we got Kylie Page, Kenzie Page's sister, taking on Natalia Markova. We've definitely seen these two have matches before, but I think this was their best match to date. Definitely some really good back and forth, with Kylie constantly trying to slow down Markova with sleeper holds, but Markova would always break out. Kylie with a jazz stinger, which that looked impressive, only for a 2 count. Markova attempts the beautiful disaster kick, that miss. Kylie attempts a hip attack, that misses. Markova with an elbow, couple of drop kicks for a 2. Kylie with a super kick for a 2 count. Then a Shining Wizard for a 2 count as well. Kylie then whiffs on a kick for a roll-up for a 2. Markova with a suplex for a 2 count. Whiffs on the hip attack for a drop toe hold from Markova. Hits the beautiful destruction kick. And then a crazy tornado DDT to pick up the win and become number one contender. Yeah, that match was absolutely nuts. I loved every single moment. And I'm going to say this for Power. This is the match I think you gotta watch. Because they absolutely killed it. So, that was Power. Overall, a very fun episode. Interesting build, no build for, not the Grey Cup. What do they call it? I forget the tag trophy name. It'll come back to me. So, yeah, overall, a very interesting episode. We now finish up with AEW Dynamite episode 300, which, honestly, this was a very fun episode. We start off with an in-ring promo from Hangman Adam Page, who says, "I'm not wasting everybody's time tonight. I said plenty on how this place and match mean to me, and I made a promise that I'd win the AEW title, free it from its case, and that's a vow I'd keep with my life. And beating me up will never be enough. You'd have to kill me to let this chance pass me by." So then, the Death Riders music hit. They don't hit the ring at first. So Hangman continues his promo saying, "Oh no, wait, I'm a little ahead myself." So he says, "I'm not going to let the Death Riders' involvement get in my way. Give me either the Elite or the Death Riders. Mox, give me this match or death. Give me a Texas death match." So then, Death Riders music hit. Out comes Moxley and Maria Shafir. Moxley gets on the microphone, says, "So at All In, you want to pull all your chips on the table with the AEW title in a Texas death match. No, you don't want that to win. You're happy where you are. And you know why you won the Owen Hart Cup. It's not the top of the mountain. I live in the pressure. People call themselves the best wrestler in the world. I'm going to show the entire world I'm much more. I'm going to show everyone what a world champion looks like. And you don't have what it takes to go in a Texas death match with me." So they have a little stare down. Hangman then slaps the taste out of Moxley's mouth, pulling some strikes on Moxley on the ground. Then Shafir walks over to Hangman. Big slap to Hangman. This brings out Wheeler Yuta, who grabs Hangman by the ankle. Then out comes Claudio Castagnoli, takes out Hangman. The Death Riders then kick the crap out of Hangman for a while. Claudio with a neutralizer. And then Death Riders collect themselves. They go to leave through the crowd. Hangman gets back on the mic. Says, "Is that the best you got? You send your lapdogs after me because I'm still standing." So Claudio grabs a chair from one of the fans. He's about to re-enter. Then in comes Samoa Joe to cut him off. And then from behind him is Powerhouse Hobbs and, oh god, I forget the dude's name. It's not Masato Tanaka. Kazuyori Shibata. That's his name. Okay. They get into Claudio's face a little bit. Yuta is like a hyper puppy dog. He tries to get to ringside, but Claudio backs him off. Then we see in the ring Shafir with the AEW title case go for a case shot on Hangman. Hangman blocks it with one hand, and then just kind of pushes her down. Hangman gets back on the microphone and says, "Mox, be the champion you say you are. Give me the Texas Death Match." So Moxley grabs the microphone, says, "You want it? You got it." So Hangman hands Marina Shafir the case back. He's on the apron. Then he brings the mic back up, says, "Oh, and all the excitement, I forgot. You know, I'm there for Texas Death Match. I'll show you I have what it takes." And then he hits a big old buckshot lariat on Marina Shafir to one of the biggest pops I've ever heard. That was insane. I loved this. Marina Shafir finally getting a little comeuppance. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So then we get a it's kind of an interview, more promotion, as Timeless Tony Storm is hanging out with the cast of the upcoming Superman movie from James Gunn. And she's trying to give the actress playing Lois Lane, I do not know her name, I apologize, wrestling names, which is, funny. It's hilarious. So, next match up. Before this next matchup, we see Timeless Tony Storm kind of sing off commentary. Mercedes Moné style. She's got a big steak dinner in front of her. Glass of wine. And then there's like a cake right next to her for some reason. As we get ready for our TBS title match, as Mina Shirakawa takes on Mercedes Moné. And it gets started right quick with some big strikes, trading roll-ups. Early on, Mercedes goes for the statement maker. That gets blocked. Shirakawa with a roll-up for a 2 count. Shirakawa with an impressive Thez press, which is always awesome. And Beals Moné around the ring for a little while. Moné eventually counterattacks with a Meteora. Tosses Shirakawa to the outside. And then she does the Tony Storm on the mat taunt. I don't even know how to say that. So, definitely getting into the head of Tony Storm. Shirakawa attempts to figure 4 leg lock, but that gets blocked. Into the statement maker, but Shirakawa gets out. Shirakawa then locks in the figure 4, in which Moné rolls herself and Mina all the way to the outside of the ring. Moné then with a Rana and a DDT gets him back in the ring. Moné with another Meteora. Then a double hair pull spot, hitting each other with elbows. Moné with a sunset flip powerbomb into the corner. A Meteora. Then another sunset flip powerbomb, hitting Mina with the knees for a 2 count. She goes for the Meteora again. Mina catches it, hits some knee tremblers on her, and then a leg whip. Locks in the figure 4 leg lock again, but Moné gets into the ropes. Moné with a steering blade for a 2 count. Mina goes for the glamorous driver, but that gets blocked. Monet attempts the Monet Maker. That gets blocked as well. Trade elbows again. Mina with a spinning back fist. And then a glamorous driver for a 2 count. Attempts the glamorous driver again. That gets blocked into a lung blower. Only for a 2 count. Monet with a Monet Maker. That gets blocked. Double roll up for your winner, Mercedes Moné. And honestly, that was such a good matchup. Both women have some great chemistry together. I would not mind a rematch with them, between them, somewhere down the line. So then, Monet attacks Mina post-match. Toni Storm then gets up from her seat, gets in the ring, runs off Monet for a minute. So Toni checks on Mina. Monet gets back in the ring, holding her TBS title, and hits a belt shot on Toni Storm. Then Monet goes to ringside, picks up that steak, and just starts chomping it. Then she picks up a glass of water, gets in the ring, splashes it on Luther, who is sitting ringside. I cannot wait for this Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm match. It is going to absolutely rule. So then we get a card rundown of the rest of Dynamite 300. Then we get a little promo from the Young Bucks saying, we're in Cali celebrating 300 episodes of Dynamite. And we obviously went on a spending spree. And we got a stretch limo with their images on it. And, that's not the best part. Opens the door. It's full of sneakers. Which, honestly, that's funny. So then they say, look, we're not going to be in the arena for a little while. We don't have a match till later. So we are going to take a trip down memory lane in our childhood home. So they take a little tour of Rancho Cucamonga, see some sights, including their childhood home, in which I believe it was Matthew saying, I thought this was bigger. Turns to Nicholas, says, alright, you want to get out of here? Nicholas says, yeah. So they go back to their stretch limo, and that's where we see the end of that segment for now. We're going to see them a little later. But first, we got a fatal 4-way match to determine who goes number 2 in the Casino Gauntlet match. So our participants, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, joined by the Hurt Syndicate, AR Fox, Big O Brody King, and the 5-2 player himself, Anthony Bowens. And so, right as the bell rings, MJF goes into his, his coin purse, I'll say that, brings out a couple of bills, tries to pay off Brody to be on his side, but Brody just kind of swats it out of his hand. MJF then trying to recollect the money. He's being chased by all 3 of his opponents. He then hides behind the Hurt Syndicate. And then Brody's like, screw it. Goes after the other 2. Hits a couple of clotheslines. Tosses them into a barricade. Double crossbody for both of them. Gets back in. Goes for a splash. Big miss. But then big old clothesline. Then at one point, we see everybody trading cutters, which is awesome. MJF attempts a heat seeker that gets blocked. Brody King with a dangling sleeper off the apron. Two other guys hit the drop kick. AR Fox with a big old DDT. Bowens with the Arrival elbow drop, which I haven't seen that in a while. MJF with a pile driver for a 2 count. Locks in the Salt of the Earth, which is his submission. Winner, official number 2 in the Casino Gauntlet, it's MJF. So the Hurt Syndicate join MJF in the ring. They're celebrating. They're getting ready to go. Out on the ramp is Mark Briscoe, and he's at a microphone. He says to Max, "Congratulations. You'll be the number 2 entrant in the Casino Gauntlet. The bad news is I'm number 1. And you've got an uninterrupted ass whooping coming." So MJF gets on the microphone himself, says, "Let me make this perfectly clear." Oh, this is still Mark, actually. "I'm talking to MJF and MJF alone. Last week you called me blue collar, and yes, I am blue collar. I wear it with a badge of honor. And I'm a few steps ahead of you. So next week, you're going to leave the rest of your syndicate in the back, and we both have mics. We know you like to talk. If you don't have the nuts, I'll see you next week." So, interesting little segment. But that leads into Jet Speed coming out. So that's Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. They both have taped up midsections. They brawl with Benjamin and Lashley for a little bit. Hitting a couple of dives on them. But Hurt Syndicate eventually regain advantage with a bunch of strikes. Flatliner from Benjamin. Body slam from Bobby Lashley. Syndicate leave the ring. They're about to head up the ramp. Then Knight and Bailey get up and they're challenging the Syndicate to get back in the ring. So the Syndicate get back in and just continue the beatdown. Couple of power bombs to both of them. Benjamin and Lashley then leave the ring again. And then Knight and Bailey get up again. They're like, "No, we're not done. Bring it." Syndicate get back into the ring. Tosses them into a turnbuckle. Big shoulders. Benjamin with a rising knee strike. Lashley with a dominator. Hurt Syndicate leave the ring again. And Kevin Knight has the microphone. He says, "This is the issue with you guys. You're the Hurt Syndicate and you do hurt people, but we still live. And you're going to have to kill us to stop us. So on Collision, Benjamin, I want you one-on-one." So, yeah, I'm going to say this. That was a little weird segment because that Collision match turns into a triple threat, adding Nick Wayne into it, which, okay. So then we go to the parking lot. Young Bucks are arriving in their limo. They get out of the limo, and they're in their gear. Like, how? I'm sorry. That should not be possible. As funny as that is. But that just looked weird. So next up, we get a little trios action. As we got Bandito, the Ring of Honor World Champion, teaming up with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong of the Paragon to take on Matthew and Nicholas Jackson of the Young Bucks. And Don Callis family member Konosuke Takeshita. And I'm going to say this. The parts of Bandito and Takeshita having their match, I want to see that match one-on-one one day. But honestly, this was a fun, entertaining little tag match. Really good back and forth. One point, near the end, Kyle O'Reilly goes for the guillotine. That gets blocked. Super kicks from all three members of the opposing team. Young Bucks with the EVP trigger. Konosuke Takeshita with the Raging Fire powerbomb. So your winners, Takeshita and the Young Bucks. And as they're celebrating, out comes Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. Attacks the Bucks post-match. Bucks bail. They're going up the ramp. So Swerve gets on the mic, says, we asked you some questions last week, and we don't have our answers. And look, me and Will are not trying to become EVPs. We are putting those titles on you, the fans, the people. And only one person who runs this company, and that's Tony Khan. So are these guys young bucks or old fucks? That's actually a Will Ospreay line, which, great line, Will. So Nicholas grabs a microphone from somewhere, says, "What is it with you guys? We're not the bosses, we are. You want your answer? Hell no. So what do we get out of this?" So Will's like, "I got something for you." Whispers something in Swerve's ear. Says, "If you guys win, me and Swerve can't challenge for the AEW title for an entire year." So Swerve immediately gets a little bug-eyed, turns to Will, and they're having a little argument. So Nicholas says, "That's the smartest thing you have ever suggested. You guys got a deal, but only if Swerve is in. And if Swerve is in, you got a deal." So Swerve, looking around, looking a little not confused, but a little lost for words. He picks up a mic, brings it to his lips, says, "You got a deal." Then Matthew finishes up saying, "See you at All In, pricks." So then we get another Superman film promo thing with Kenny Omega and MJF hanging out with the cast, which that looked like fun. I can't wait to see that Superman movie. And y'all can hate me all you want. I'm looking forward to it. So next up, we got Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland taking on the Beast Mortis and Dralistico of LFI. And honestly, this match was so good. Each guy having a nice little moment. Really good back and forth. Until Mortis attempts a Samoan drop. Ospreay counters it into a crucifix bomb. Swerve Strickland with a swerve stomp. Ospreay with a Stormbreaker into a Styles Clash. Into a Swerve House Call to pick up the win. And I'm going to say that match finish absolutely ruled. It made Mortis feel like an absolute monster that both Will and Swerve had to hit him with their biggest bombs to finish it. It was great. It was awesome. The whole match, I'm going to say this. I am absolutely going to recommend. But that isn't it for our night. Because we got a very big New Japan Pro Wrestling rematch. As we got Kota Ibushi making his Dynamite in-ring return. Taking on Kazuchika Okada in non-title action. And honestly, this is what I enjoy about AEW. Even if the champions aren't defending their titles, they are still in the matches. They are still wrestling on a semi-regular basis. Which I do appreciate. And this match, woo! Again, this match absolutely ruled. These two have some chemistry that I don't know if I can explain it that well. A couple of times, Okada attempted the Rainmaker. Ibushi countered it each and every time. And I honestly forget how good Ibushi's drop kicks are. That's freaking awesome. Ibushi attempts a Phoenix Splash. Okada gets his knees up. Hits a big old suplex. Tries again for the Rainmaker, but whiffs. Ibushi then with a powerbomb off the top. Only for a 2 count. Ibushi tries for the Camel IA, which is a submission. Okada blocks it. Whiffs on the Rainmaker, but then hits a drop kick. Eventually hits the Rainmaker to pick up the win. So Don Callis and Lance Archer get in the ring. We then see Rocky Romero join in, and they just start beat down on Kota Ibushi. And before they can land the final shot, they hear a battle cry. Kenny Omega making his return. He's been out, I'm going to say storyline-wise. He gets in the ring. He runs off the Callis family. But then we find someone else from the Callis family. And it's Trent Beretta. And he's got like a police baton, which is interesting. Ibushi stops Trent Beretta from hitting Omega. Ibushi then with a big knee strike to Trent, knocking him out of the ring. Then we see Ibushi and Omega. They have a little face-off, and they embrace as the Don Callis family walk off in defeat. The Golden Lovers are back together in AEW, and I'm so hyped for this. All In should be absolutely amazing. I cannot wait for that. Dynamite itself was absolutely awesome. I cannot absolutely wait to see what happens next. And it has been a while since Dynamite was like that. But oh boy, I cannot wait. So yeah, that'll do it for me. So instead of me covering SmackDown and Collision tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I am going to come back tomorrow with a little non-wrestling video, as I am going to I'm going to list what I am excited for Fantastic Four First Steps. Should be a very interesting video. Then on Wednesday, it's going to be a double dipper of predictions, because Saturday got Saturday night's main event, and then on Sunday is Evolution. So hopefully the card for that will be out. Friday should be my review for Raw, Power, and Dynamite. Then Monday will be my review for SmackDown and Collision. Although Collision and SmackDown, because Collision this week is on Thursday. And then All In is going to be during the day on Saturday. So, definitely going to be an interesting combination of things going on. And then my review for those two shows are going to be on Tuesday. So hopefully you stay tuned for those. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.